We've talked about this a million times for those of you who through it, for those of you that haven't. You have a two-family house in Jackson Heights that's worth $1.5 million. You live on half the house, you rent half the house. What is the IRS, how does the IRS treat that house? So, and by the way, you can have a CO for a one family, you can have a CO for a five family. So what I want to tell you is the IRS doesn't care about singles. They're completely disinterested. They're only concerned about how properties are used. So if you have a two-family house and you're using it as a one-family house, what is it? It's a one-family house.
Yeah.
You have a two-family house and you have using it as a six-family, what is it? It's a six-family, right? The IRS doesn't care if you sell cocaine for a living. They don't care, they just want you to pay tax on the profit you make on the cocaine sales. Now, they may refer you to the FBI, but that's not really what they're looking for. They just want the money, right? They just want the cash. They're not interested. So, but if you have a house that in Jackson Heights is $1.5 million, you're using half of it for personal use, your family's there, the other half is rental, the IRS treats it like it's two separate buildings. That's all, it's very simple. Same address, two separate buildings. One building you're selling that you live in, one building that you're selling, it's a rental property. Can you do a 1031 transaction on that $1.5 million building? You can, but you only do it on the half that you're renting. So you only do it on your $750,000 sale. You don't do it on the $750,000 that you live in, only on the $750,000 that you're renting. Two separate buildings. On the part that you live in, can you do a 1031? I just said no.
No.
It's not for rental and it's not for investment. You live there, right? Or your son lives there, or your daughter lives there. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be your primary residence, you could have a relative live there. But if it's your primary residence, you're entitled to the 121 exclusion. The 121 exclusion is that $250,000 tax-free
Yeah.
or $500,000 tax-free. So, generally speaking, on a $1.5 million, $2 million sale where it's mixed use, the $500,000 for a couple is enough to eliminate the capital gain. But it might not be. It could be that the gain is, much more than the 500. Then you pay tax only on the amount above 500. Is there anything you can do to avoid paying taxation on the amount above 500,000? Yes. My Greek clients do it all the time. They sell their buildings, they go to Greece, they never come back. Right? Now, what they don't know now is that the U.S. government suspends their passports.
Oh my God.
So they fly back into the U.S. and arrive at JFK, back to Athens, buddy. You're not coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Or even worse, if you owe money to the federal government now, if you owe them over $54,000, you go to the airport to go to vacation,
Get arrested.
in St. Martin with your kids, and they're not going to arrest you, but your kids are going, you're not going. Your passport has been voided. Exactly. So why do they do it? They do it to hold you hostage. So if you owe the IRS more than $54,000 now, they do what they call a Department of State referral. Problem is you don't get the letter, you have no idea, and you go to the airport to go on vacation and you find out you're not going anywhere. You can go on vacation, you go to Hobart. So what happens, right? But to going back seriously, is there anything you can do on the personal side to avoid taxation? The answer is no. $500,000 tax free. So let's talk about the 121 exclusion for a second. John and I are brothers. Well, let's say we're not brothers. We bought a house together. His family lives on one floor, I live on the other floor. We sell the building for $2 million. My share is $1 million, his share is $1 million. The 121 exclusion, if we're both married, is how much? $500 each. But it's one building. Can we both use the $500,000 exclusion even though it's one building?
Yeah.
This is a legitimate question.
Sure.
Yes.
The answer is yes. His building is his building, my building is my building, doesn't matter that it's one
So
boy.
it has to be a two-family?
No, anything. So in other words, you can use, if you have other people, so if you have a house that's owned by a mother and a daughter, for example,
250 each.
they're entitled to $250 each. If the mother's married and the spouse lives there, it's $500 for them, $250 for the daughter.
Interesting.
This is why I tell people sometimes they want to transfer properties to their kids, and they reserve a life estate, or they don't reserve a life estate, and I tell them, are you sure you want to transfer property to your kids? Do you have a relationship with your kids? And they go, I love my kids. My kids are like the best kids in the world. I go, that's interesting. I'm very happy for you. is your son, your daughter, are they married? No, they're not married yet. I go, well, what do you think about a possible in-law, daughter-in-law, son-in-law? I'm not really worried. So I tell them, you know, in this business, we don't call daughter-in-laws and son-in-laws in-laws. What do we call them?
Outlaws.
They're outlaws.
Outlaw, yep.
They are the enemy. So it's not because I'm cynical, but they are the outlaws. So when you transfer your property to your son, and your son gets married to somebody you're referring to as a bitch every single day, and you think that that bitch is influencing your son, you're going to
Yes.
regret the fact that your house is in their name. Right? And when you transfer all your assets into a trust, and you transfer your assets to your kids, and you love your kids and you have a good relationship, and you call up your son and you say, I need $20,000, I want to go to Croatia for 6 weeks. And your son makes the mistake of saying, Dad, really? $20,000? What would I say if my son did that? I'd get into an Uber, I'd walk up into his apartment and I'd smack him in the face. Who are you to tell me
That's a lot of money.
what I'm going to do with my money? It's not your money, asshole. It's my money. It just happens to be in your name. But kids do that, excuse me for cursing.
It's fun,
Okay.
we're all French.
It's for emphasis. So the truth is that kids, as you become older, your kids are going to start to think you're stupid and you don't know anything. I'm only 65 and my kids think I'm stupid. Wait till I'm 85. Right? So transferring assets to kids is not such a great idea. But this is the point that I was getting at. I own a house, I transfer it to my son. Right? I reserve a life estate. People do this all the time. Now I want to sell the house. If I kept the house, I'm entitled to $500,000 tax-free, right? My son doesn't live in the house. He's half a seller. He's the seller now.
Oh my God.
He's not entitled to the 121 exclusion. Maybe my son's in a higher tax bracket than I would have been. I made a big mistake. So if these transfers of properties prior to death leads to tax problems later because people don't anticipate the issues, right? So one, you can't get your money back because of the outlaws, and then two, you create a taxable transaction if you wind up selling prior to death. So another point on the 121 exclusion. I own the property. My wife lives with me, my wife lives with me, but she's not an owner. I'm the only owner. I sell it. Do I get $250 or can I get $250 her? But she's not an owner.
250.
I think
500.
I think 500.
It's $500.
Uh-huh.
Your spouse does not have to be an owner. She only had to live there. So this is the other thing that happens to me. I get people that live together. They're not married. They've been living together for 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. The guy sells the house, right? He has, how much does he have tax-free? $250 because they're not married.
Correct.
So I say to them, if you get married by December 31st, you get another $250,000 tax-free, and you'll save about another $70,000 in taxes if you get married by December 31st. And then you know what I say, right? It's not worth it. Pay the $70,000.
It's cheaper, yep.
Don't do it.
Yep.
Don't do it, right?
Yep.
So,
And you gain the outlaws.
and then the last thing I want to tell you about 121, which is kind of interesting, especially for real estate salespeople or real estate professionals, is to follow me. Husband and wife own a house. Husband dies. Now the wife goes to sell the house, or she's not going to sell the house, but she sells the house. She puts the house on the market. The husband's dead. First of all, she gets a basis step up in the house and the husband's share, so the tax is lower automatically. But can the wife take the husband's $250,000 exclusion? He's deceased. She has hers, but can she take his?
She should.
Well, I don't know. There's no way that you would know. It's just with the law is the law, and the law is very clear. The law says if the wife closes on the sale
A year.
within 2 years of her husband's death, she gets his $250.
Yep. Within two
So if you're
years.
dealing with a widow or a widower, they should know that
That's a good one.
list that house and get it sold.
Create a marketing.
Yes.
Yeah.
2 years are coming up.
If your husband's dead, call me.
Time to sell.
You have to be a little sensitive so you do it.
And then send it every month and count it down, right?
Yep. There you go.
21 months.
But the 2 year period starts, just so you know. So it's important.
I have to get the picture. It starts with.
Yeah, don't do that. Do like a little countdown.
Then I'm going to talk about home purchase and conversion.